Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So the other day I did a video where I talked about the way I dress and encouraging women to embrace femininity, to embrace aging, not to try and fight nature, seeing aging as a gift because it is. And that video actually led to many questions about where I get my clothing from. And rather than answering the same questions over and over and over again, I just decided to sit down and do a quick little video and just share where I've been getting things. Several years ago, when we were still in Alabama, I started wearing more linen. Actually started wearing linen in general. I used to own a few linen items a long time ago and I loved them, but I didn't have them anymore, and I was young and styles changed and all of that, and I actually kind of regretted, well, my style had changed at the time. And I didn't keep those items. I kind of wished I had. But I had decided to start wearing linen and started searching for sources for linen clothing. And the best place that I had found at the time was Etsy. Going online, looking for shops that sold linen garments. If you find a really good shop on Etsy, they can actually, they'll make the items to order. You can ask for modifications. Not all shops, but some of them do. And there's one in particular that I purchased several dresses from. I purchased several skirts from, including this one that I have on here. I actually have this dress in several colors. Super flowy, super easy to do all the things in. I can step over the fence out there by Sophie and Amos or the goats, and I can climb up the stairs. I don't have to lift my skirt or trip over them or anything like that. Great ease of movement. But that's where I got a lot of my linen garments from, and the name of that shop is called Linenia. They're based out of Texas, and I know that they will actually do some modifications for you. I have this one dress that I like that the original design didn't have pockets, but I loved the dress, it didn't have pockets. And so I said, hey, if I order another one of these, could I have you make it with pockets? And they're like, absolutely. What kind of pockets? Do you want in the seam? Do you want the patch style? They gave me options. So Linenia on Etsy is one source. There's a couple other places on Etsy that I've gotten things here and there, but I've gotten more from Linenia than any other. And then a couple of years ago, I found a company, probably through Instagram, because that's the only social media platform that I browse at all, just because I love photography and I love photos, although Instagram seems to be moving more and more towards video, which, it is what it is. But the company that I found is called Pine & Smith, and the dresses are beautiful. They're 100% linen. The print, the linen actually comes in prints, and I do have a couple of dresses from Pine & Smith, but just to be frank, they are very expensive dresses. I probably won't buy any more from them, even though I love the dresses. And I've seen some other people wearing some of their dresses, and I spot them. I recognize them immediately when I see them wearing them. There's a girl on Instagram that I like to follow. She's very funny. Her and her husband do these videos. I think the account is called Really Very Crunchy, and she wears a lot of natural fiber garments, and some of the dresses that she has come from Pine & Smith. But like I said, they're pricey. They're very expensive dresses. I mean, linen in general is not a cheap fabric. The fabric itself is expensive, so the garments that are made out of it are generally going to be a little on the pricier side. But the Pine and Smith ones they're beautiful, but you're paying for it. Now that said, I do have a couple of things that I've gotten off of Amazon. 100% linen. They are cheaper in price. I do also see them as a bit cheaper in quality. I mostly use them for work dresses, work clothing. Like the other day I did a video where I was out here in the garden, and it was kind of a working garden tour. And I had on one of those Amazon linen dresses. It was just like a tunic dress, very simple, quite inexpensive, especially for linen. And you know, I have a couple of that same dress in a couple different colors for working. But another place that, when it comes to linen, that I have found a couple of things here and there is from TJ Maxx. And you know, I've gotten really good at spotting linen on the rack. You know, I can walk down the rack and I can just kind of look at all of the clothes, and I can almost always tell when something's made out of linen. And it might be 100% linen, or it might be a linen blend, but linen has a very distinctive look to the fabric. So I've gotten pretty good at spotting the linen at TJ Maxx. I mean, I don't always find styles that I would like. Sometimes it's in bright prints or, you know, styles that are just not me, but I have found quite a bit of linen at TJ Maxx. I haven't bought a lot there, but I have found quite a bit there. Now, that said, another place that you can sometimes find linen is at thrift stores. And I've had people say that they've looked at thrift stores and they cannot find any linen in thrift stores. Here's my thoughts on that. If the thrift store that you're going to is in an area that is, say, more economically depressed, you're probably not going to find much linen. But if you go to a thrift store in an area that is a little more affluent, where people are probably going to spend money on linen garments, then you've got a better chance of finding linen in those thrift shops. So, you know, if you go to a store that's, you know, near a ritzy neighborhood, you might be more apt to find some linen in a store like that. Just to be quite honest. Now, linen I absolutely love, especially in the summer, because air goes right through linen. When it's 1,000,000 degrees out and there's a breeze, you can feel it when you're wearing linen. On the downside, linen can also be quite see-through. So if you have a linen dress or skirt, you will want to wear a slip. Now around the house I don't wear them, but if I'm going anywhere in public, I am putting a slip on underneath anything linen that I'm wearing. I have a couple of 100% cotton slips that I bought from Amazon. The only slips I can find like in actual stores, and actually lately I haven't been able to find them anywhere in stores, but the few I did find prior to that were like 100% like polyester or rayon or something like that. And I try to avoid artificial fibers. I try to wear only linen or cotton, and 100% at that. So 100% cotton slips is what I generally wear. And I don't know how long I'm going to be able to talk at the moment. I may have to cut this and finish this video later because I'm dodging the rain, y'all. We've had storms coming through and it's really dark right over there behind the camera. But then besides the 100% linen garments that I wear, I also like to wear 100% cotton. But you know, I have a tough time finding 100% cotton garments that I think are modest, pretty, or good enough quality that warrant the price. You know what I mean? I don't mind spending a little bit more money on clothing if it's good quality. I don't want to spend good money on something that is not going to last and falls apart the first time you wash it, or, you know, after the first month of wearing it or whatever. I do think when it comes to clothing, a lot of times you get what you pay for. So I don't mind spending a little bit more money on something that is very good quality, that it will last for years and years. So a lot of the dresses that people had been asking about are these more feminine, a little more pretty dresses that I've been wearing. And almost all of them have come from the same website, and it's called April Cornell. She is actually a designer. If you've ever heard of the website Modern Prairie, which is owned by Melissa Gilbert from Little House on the Prairie, she's the same designer. So everything on the Modern Prairie website, that, you know, clothing related, and actually more than just clothing. She also does home things, linens and such. But she's the one who makes all of them. And actually, the way I found out about her was I went to TJ Maxx and I bought a tablecloth that was absolutely beautiful. And it was like these autumn colors, and it was like 100% cotton tablecloth. It was beautiful. And I used it that one season. It was for fall. It was an autumn tablecloth. And I thought, oh, the colors in this tablecloth are beautiful. I would love to make curtains out of these for my bedroom. So I went back to TJ Maxx to see if I could get another one, and they were sold out. They didn't have any more of them. But I really wanted to try and get another one of those tablecloths so I could use them for curtains in my bedroom. And I looked at the tag from the tablecloth, because I still had the tag, and went to the website, aprilcornell.com, and I realized that this was not like a homewares website. It was, while they have homewares, they mostly had clothing, and the clothing was beautiful. Like, I loved almost everything on that website. It's like, I could wear almost everything on here and love it. But what I really liked is almost, not all, but almost everything, every piece of clothing that is on there is 100% something. There are garments that are like 100% rayon or 100% modal, but there is a lot of 100% cotton, and you can search by the fabric. So when I'd go to the website, I'd punch in the size of the clothing that I was looking for, and then I would use the filter for 100% cotton, and it would only show me 100% cotton, and there was tons of it. It's where I got this kind of lacy eyelet top that I like wearing with my skirts. And that's where I've gotten a lot of my dresses lately. You know, for a long time, I didn't really spend any kind of money on clothing, only when I absolutely had to, because I just never really found much that I liked. But honestly, I've spent quite a bit of money at the April Cornell website, because I wanted to spend money on really good clothing that would last me pretty much forever. And I do believe that the April Cornell dresses and the clothing and everything, it is pricey. It's not as expensive as like the Pine & Smith linen clothing, but it is on the pricier side. But I think you are absolutely getting what you pay for. That said, they have a section on their website, and I really like to look in there. It is called the attic, and the attic is their basically clearance department. And you can find things that are off season, you can find things that are, you know, being phased out, but everything that's in the attic is already marked down, and then they'll have sales. For instance, they just had a huge summer sale, trying to move a lot of the summer products out, because they'll be bringing in the winter and fall line here, I guess, at some point. And so everything that was in the attic that was already marked down because it was basically clearance, you got another discount on top of that. I have a dress that I had bought I'd been looking at it for a while, and man, I loved that dress. I just didn't want to pay full price for it. And I was able to get it for about a third of the original price because I waited until it went to the attic. They still had it in my size, and then there was a sale going on, and so I went ahead and I snagged that. So aprilcornell.com, like I said, is a great place, or modernprairie.com. There's not as much on that website, but everything that is on there was made by April Cornell. And you can see her picture like on the item page where it talks about the designer. It's the same lady. And again, everything that I've gotten from there is amazing quality, very well made, for the most part quite modest clothing. There are some things you can tell the fabric is very thin, very sheer. So, you know, like if it's a top, you might want to wear a camisole underneath it. Or, you know, if it's a dress, you might want to wear a slip or something like that. But they make slips. And actually, I have a couple of dresses that I have gotten. One I got from Modern Prairie a couple of years ago. And the other one I bought kind of recently from April Cornell, and because they were a very sheer fabric, these dresses actually came with slips, and I didn't even realize that when I bought them, but they came with them. But speaking of slips, both of those websites do have some, like, really nice underlayers, slips, camisoles, and things like that. But I got a set of slips that are not like regular slips. They're actually shorts or bloomers. And they came in a set, a long set and a short set. And they are wonderful. They're 100% cotton. They have like a beautiful like crochet lace at the bottom of the pant leg, so that if you can see them underneath your dress, it looks very intentional. So it's okay if they're longer than the dress that you're wearing. It's like they're designed to be seen, and it's okay. Or like, say if you have a dress that buttons down all the way, you could leave the bottom few buttons unbuttoned and have it so that that lacy underlayer shows through, and it's very pretty. Now there is another website that I did find recently, and I found it through Instagram, and I've only gotten one dress from them so far because, you know, I have a hard time buying things on the internet because I don't know if I'm going to like them. I don't know if the quality is going to be very good. And so if I find a website, I'm only going to buy one thing and check it out and see if it's any good before I ever think about buying anything else. But this one website that I came across, it was called Doll, which struck me because it was my maiden name, exactly the same way it was spelled. And so just seeing the name made me want to visit their website. And I realized that they had a lot of beautiful dresses as well. And I did order one dress from them, and I loved it. It's not as big of a website, and I think they kind of sell out pretty quickly on some of the things that they do. It's kind of more of a boutique-y, kind of small batch kind of site, I think, similar to the Pine & Smith one. But it's called Doll is the name of it. And I'll put a link, because the link isn't doll.com, it's something else. I think it's shopdoll.com. But I'll put a link to all of these in the video description down below if you are, you know, wanting to check any of these out. When I wasn't focused on wearing 100% natural fibers, I used to shop at Cato a lot. That used to be my favorite clothing store because their clearance rack was a serious clearance rack and you could get stuff really cheap. But again, when you go cheap, sometimes the clothes don't last that long. I do have a few things still from Cato. I only kept the things that were 100% cotton. But that is pretty much it. I can't think of any place else really that I have purchased any clothing from in the last several years. It's all been those places that I mentioned. Etsy, again, a couple of the work quality, you know, working in the garden, working around the house kinds of quality things from Amazon, Pine & Smith, April Cornell / Modern Prairie. As a matter of fact, Modern Prairie is where I got that beautiful lacy apron that I have. That's like almost like wearing a dress all by itself. 100% cotton. Designed by April Cornell. Came from modernprairie.com. And then the shop doll website. Other than that, that's pretty much it. I haven't shopped anywhere else in years now. Maybe some socks from Walmart. That's about it. I can't think of anything else. So like I said at the beginning, I have had so many people asking me about where I've been buying my dresses, especially the very pretty feminine ones that I've been wearing the last year or so. And the linen and all of that. And then just because people may ask, and it sort of goes along with the clothing, people wonder where I get my headscarves from, and almost all of them come from a website called Rapunzel. And I have a video where I talk about them and all of that, but you can find them linked in the video description down below. And I will also include links to all of the places that I mentioned here today. And so if you want to check them out, you can. So it is getting really dark, y'all. So I think I may have gotten this done just in time. So I've got my big old umbrella right here off to the side, just in case it started raining while I was out here. But if y'all have any questions as far as anything that I mentioned here today, please leave those in the comments down below and I'll do my best to answer them. So thanks for spending some time with me out here in the garden. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.